60 years ago, in 1963, Vernon High School won its first state high school football championship. The Vernon Lions were coached by Foster T. Thomas. This video is a tribute to the coaches, players, and managers of the three state championship teams, 1963, 1967, and 1968. African American students played sports in the Louisiana Interscholastic and Literary Organization, LIALO. Schools were located all over the state. LIALO teams competed in multiple divisions based on school size. Vernon High School was a Class A school. This video is a tribute to the impact that Foster Thomas, his family, fellow educators, and citizens had in creating a community and tradition in Leesville amidst the period of integration during the 60s and 70s. The efforts and impact of these citizens continue to be significant. Foster Thomas lived an impactful life. He was a great husband, father figure, and citizen. He was a proud veteran and great American. Above all, he was a man of faith and a man of his word. His life is remembered and revered.
My wife and I moved back a few years ago. I decided to write a book about high school football. I was always a Wampus kid. I was always paying attention to what went on at home. And as I was going through news reports of Leesville, I kept seeing these other reports from Vernon that would appear periodically in the Lake Charles American Press. Started asking people in Leesville, well, what do you know about Vernon? And everyone said, man, they were good. I said, well, what was their record? Well, don't know. Does anyone have a yearbook? There weren't many that were made. I think there were 2 that were ever put together in the history of the school. I decided that this needed to be documented because of what I had heard they had accomplished, and I really wanted to find out what they had accomplished.
Vernon High was perhaps the greatest high school around because we were a community. We had a faculty and a staff who insisted that kids learned. I mean, we didn't have any of this social promotion stuff. They taught, you actually learned. They insisted that you learn. Parents supported teachers, and teachers were really the folk who made the thing work. Foster was my oldest brother. He was a man of few words and short sentences. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. He was big on action, small on talk. Tom was an exceptional coach, but he understood that he couldn't do it by himself, so he had some exceptional assistant coaches. And these guys were able to recruit kids to play on the football team. We were a small high school team. Single A was our division. And I would imagine we had about 100 guys in the high school, and probably 70 or 75 of them played on the football team.
Foster, stop. Hey, boy. I want you to come out for the team next year. I said, I ain't going out there and play no ball. Them boys is big. I'm scared. Oh, you can do it? Come on out. Come on out. We can go and talk to your mama.
They were every bit as good as everyone had said. They were a very, very dominant football team for basically the entirety of the 60s. A slow start in 1960, but they started winning in 61 and 62. And they won 3 state championships throughout the 1960s. They had one 22-game winning streak that spanned the course of about 3 seasons. They were just very, very dominant and well respected, and they were very much the glue of the community, of the African American community in Leesville.
So the entire community got hyped up when it was football game night. In fact, when we went to play, even though the schools were not integrated at the time, our citizens packed our side of the field, but outside the gate were other citizens from Leesville. Everybody came to see us play.
I've been told, as I've been piecing this together, by kids that grew up in those days, that they used to slip over and watch them on Saturday. Only one football stadium in Leesville. The Wampus Cats would play on Friday, and then the Lions would come to Wampus Cat Stadium and play on Saturday. And they would go over there and watch them and be amazed, because the Wampus Cats never did anything like the Lions did.
When we went off to play, we weren't able to have as big a following as we had at home, but when we returned home, you knew that it was Vernon Lions coming home, because the bus driver would keep the buzzer going all the way to the school, and everybody would wake up to know that Vernon was home, and of course we won.
What makes Vernon Parish Schools great? We believe it is an emphasis on back to basics, with a strong focus on rigor, relevance and results. Vernon Parish Schools maintain high expectations for all students by implementing high-quality curriculum, providing innovative programs, and continuously monitoring student progress and growth. Our schools develop programs and experiences for students that prepare them for success and are relevant to their futures, whether college, career, or military service. Our schools are ranked in the top 10 in Louisiana for district performance and K-3 literacy, and are ranked number 3 in the nation in student performance by military installations. Our early childhood program receives a highly proficient gold rating. We are proud that 2 of our schools were awarded National Blue Ribbon status. Vernon Parish Schools are thankful for and appreciate the strong family and community partnerships that foster a growth mindset and lead to overall student, school, and district success. It all adds up to every child, every day, whatever it takes.
I really started down this path was to tell the story of integration, because when schools got integrated in the late 60s, there was trouble. Coach Thomas was a fantastically successful football coach, but he saw something much bigger happening that he said, we've got to make this community work. My wife and I drove over to Fort Worth some years ago to begin, I wanted to begin a book on integration. And I spent a long time with Coach Thomas that day, and that was the first time I ever heard about Carl Howard.
Carl was an unusually gifted athlete despite his handicap.
We played Paul Broke out of Lafayette. It was a big school. Single A. Played Paul Broke. When we drove up, we go to the school. When we drove up in a bus, they had a rope around my neck. And we pulled up the car. Somebody Joe said, "Carl, they got a rope around your neck," and had a dummy built with one hand like me. Because we had played them that previous year up here. And we gave them a fit right over there in the stadium. It was a pretty big team. So when we went down there, they called themselves ready for me. We gonna break that other arm. I mean, everybody's standing outside just waiting. And when I come off the bus, they said, there he is. We gonna break that other arm. I laughed. I just said, oh man. Tommy Joe said, come on, Carl. Don't worry about that. We goes on in. Time for the game, we goes with the game. Man, they kicked that ball off. Hello. I introduced Carl Howard to him. I broke it, took it almost to the house. And we whooped him so bad, whooped him by 4 or 5 touchdowns. By 4. Yeah, by 4. Beat him by 4. I don't remember with the score, but we beat him pretty bad.
And he piled up untold numbers of yards. What statisticians kept track of more in those days were touchdowns. They didn't really track, like today we hear about 1,000-yard rushers. They didn't really attribute that much in the news in those days. But Carl was a starter. He was a 4-year starter. He normally led Southwest Louisiana, what they call the Southwest Louisiana Negro League. He normally led them in scoring. Not only did he run the ball, he caught the ball. They threw him passes with one arm and he caught them.
Powerful, quick, fast, and he could really make it happen on the football field.
I ran a play about 80 yards, 75, 80 yards. And the official called running too fast. Can you imagine running too fast? Not outside now, running too fast, and they called a touchdown back. And the principal got mad because he knew you shouldn't have did that. We come right back and run the same play, and I scored again. But I had a good career, and I never would have achieved that without those Coach Somers.
Louisiana is full of stories. Yours begins here, down one of Louisiana's scenic trails and byways. Come explore Louisiana's myths and legends byway. Let your imagination run wild.
The Lions won 3 state championships, 1963, 67, and 68. In those 3 title games, they scored a total of 117 points. They surrendered 0 points. The final score in the 1963 state championship game: Vernon 33, Goodpine 0. The 63-64 Class A state football champs, the Vernon High School Lions. The 1967 team went 8-0-1. Like the 63 team, this team allowed only 3 opponents to score all year. Freshman quarterback Donnie Gilbert came off the bench in the playoffs and led the Lions to the title game. Running back Calvin Wilson totaled nearly 400 yards rushing in 2 playoff games. The Vernon Lions, 1967 State Class A football champions. In 1968, Vernon went 10-0. Seniors Michael Mallett and Leonard Johnson led the Lions to a come-from-behind win in the semifinals, beating Burger High from Independence. The score in the championship game: Vernon 58, Goodpine 0. The 1969 Lions had another winning season, but the playoffs were canceled due to federal integration orders. The mighty Lions played their last game on October 25th of 1969.
Look, I was in first grade when the school was integrated. It was what I knew growing up. My father was a schools guy. In fact, my father was a curriculum advisor at the time, and he got to school the day integration was going to happen. He didn't even know, and they told him, they said, Creighton, the buses are at Vernon. You're going to go help get them. And they kind of did it by surprise. The decision was made the previous week. They told the kids at school, y'all all wear your best clothes. We're taking pictures on Monday. And so the kids and the families had no idea this was coming. It was the first Monday in November of 1969, and they got there, and they loaded them all on buses, and they sent them over to Leesville. And so the first, as you can imagine, that was tumultuous.
In November of '69, Vernon High School was merged with Leesville High. Coach Foster Thomas began teaching and assumed duties coaching track and field in the spring of 1970. After 2.5 years as a coach, Foster Thomas was named assistant principal of Leesville High. He was instrumental in leading the now diverse faculty and student body to a place of order and excellence.
In 1972, I was an 11th grader at Leesville High School. This was a turbulent time in most schools, as school administrators and teachers dealt with issues and conflicts that accompanied integration. Assistant Principal Foster Thomas was instrumental in creating a disciplined and orderly school environment where teachers could teach and students could learn. Coach Thomas was fair, consistent, and made all students feel valued. Expectations were communicated, and all students were held accountable for their actions. Coach Thomas was a leader who listened to what students had to say, and he earned our trust and respect. Coach Thomas was a highly visible administrator who cared for each of his students. He taught us the importance of getting along with everyone.
Foster Thomas served tirelessly at Leesville High and helped to build one of the best faculties and student bodies in Louisiana. His role as a faculty mentor is remembered by many. He and Principal H. Lynn Russell instilled and demanded professionalism and excellence on the faculty, producing future principals and leaders in education.
Years later, I returned to Leesville High School as a classroom teacher. Coach Thomas became my mentor and encouraged me to become a school administrator. Coach Thomas taught me to always have the best interests of students in mind when making decisions. Coach Thomas set the example of a school leader who paid attention to details, was always prepared, inspired others, and recognized success.
In 1983, Leesville High was named one of the top schools in the nation by the United States Department of Education. The 10 years Foster Thomas spent at Leesville were critical to this prestigious award.
The legacy Foster Thomas left behind, that of excellence, is ever present to this day at Leesville High School.
Long way to go in this country, but there are pockets of excellence where things happened, and Leesville was one of those pockets of excellence. And it was Foster Thomas, and it was his principal, it was the people at the school board office, it was the teachers that came from Vernon and the teachers that were at Leesville who said, we're not going to lose this town, and that we're going to make it work. And that's the story that this needs to, I would say, launch, so people can understand that.
Touched many, many lives in that capacity as a football coach. He brought a winning tradition to Vernon High School. I think he would be humbly proud. He was not one of these guys that liked a lot of attention, but I think to have received such a recognition, I think he would be very proud of that.
They knew him. This tall man, looked like a bear, a man of character. And yes, he was their guy. He was everybody's guy. He was my assistant principal. He was revered and loved. This was a story about a community that was, I would say, accidentally erased. I hope it'll give a lot of people who don't know this story time to reflect and to realize that it happened, and then to be curious about how we got here.
Various members of the Vernon Lions have gotten together through the years, and the community of schoolmates and teammates has remained strong. In 2019, a 50th anniversary commemoration of the school merger took place at Gallery 111 in downtown Leesville. A series of personal interviews were conducted by local media, and graduates from many decades gathered to commemorate the history of the school and talk about the old times. Leesville's resident artist, Tony McDonald, was the principal organizer of the event, and the community turned out to revisit the history, traditions, and alumni from Vernon High.
Hey, Louisiana, how are you stopping litter?
In Terrebonne Parish, we put our trash in a bag.
And never out the window.
In Bienville, we bag it, tie it, and put a lid on it.
We keep litter out of our lakes in Lafayette.
And in Calcasieu Parish, we keep our truck beds clean.
And we secure our loads.
We need every person in every parish to stop littering and let Louisiana shine.
2023, a special series of events were held in Leesville to commemorate the Vernon Championship teams of the 1960s. When the Vernon School closed in 1969, the tumult of the day superseded any formal recognition of the transference of the traditions and achievements of Vernon High. The trophies from those state championship teams were transferred to Leesville High School in a quiet fashion. The hardware from those 3 titles remained in a trophy case at Leesville. With 60 years passing, it was time for an official commemoration. The first event was a private viewing of the film you've just seen. The event was held in downtown Leesville, also at Gallery 111. Leaders are always leaders, and former quarterback J.T. Smith helped gather his teammates and other players from those Lions teams for this event. J.T. found members from the Vernon teams from as far back as 1956. The first team ever assembled on Nona Street. Leesville's Deep South Catering provided a meal for the former players, their spouses, and the children of the players and coaches who were in attendance. For the first time, the cumulative story of the Vernon Lions had been told, and the players were the first to witness that tale. Later in the evening, the state championship trophies of the Vernon Lions were officially presented to school leaders in Vernon Parish. A special ceremony was held at Wampuscat Stadium, and Leesville High School rolled out the red carpet for the legends from Vernon High. Vernon Parish Superintendent of Schools James Williams, Leesville High School Principal Lisa Heyman, and Vernon Parish School Board member Vernon Travis were on hand to take possession of those 3 championship trophies. Presenting the trophies from Vernon were quarterback of the 63 championship team J.T. Smith, quarterback of the 67 state title game and 2-time champion Donnie Gilbert, and Donald Mallett, 1967 graduate, letterman, and brother of legendary Hall of Fame coach Foster Thomas. Those state trophies are now safely displayed in a place of prominence at Leesville High School.
Hello, my name is Dwight Kelly, and I represent and speak on behalf of the African American High Schools in Louisiana Before 1970 History website. I want to extend my sincere congratulations and appreciation to the producers and participants in this very historic, educational, and informative video. We are excited to see Coach Foster Thomas and his Vernon High School championship football teams receive the recognition, acknowledgement, and honors for their dedication, hard work, perseverance, and commitment to excellence. Our history research team has been diligently working for the past 6 years to capture all of the lost data and statistics in the areas of academics, athletics, and the arts. The information is continuously being added to our site to ensure that we are presenting the lost history on the African American high schools in Louisiana before 1970. We would like to extend special thanks to State Representative Chuck Owen for his leadership, dedication, and research to help put this video presentation together. I encourage you to look at our site. Please view, explore, reminisce, and share with others this valued information. Feel free to submit to our research. All historical data pertaining to Louisiana high schools is important. We welcome the information and encourage your submissions. You may visit the link below.